What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Q Stream Vibes today here with myself and Maddie, Patty, and let's see if Sean can join us in from High Farm. He's been out for a day now, so it looks like he had some a good meow session last night with his girl. Seansy, there he is.
What up?
Was it worth it, mate? Was it worth it?
Oh, so much worth it. So worth it. So much worth it. Yeah, so worth it. It's exciting to be out and alive, and I haven't been wearing a mask. I've been eating and drinking beer and going around, and it's like nothing ever happened.
You look
it's like it wasn't in court.
You're very happy.
Yeah, it's good. I was going a little crazy inside, so it feels good to be free and do anything you want at any time again. Q Stream. Welcome.
Lots to talk about today, guys. Brand new week. We can you believe that October ends end of this week? We ended with Halloween, and we have 2 more months. It's end of the year. We're literally under 8 weeks till it's Christmas.
Seems like we've been on lockdown for the whole year.
Really fast. A write-off just as much as 2020. But I think for the most part, people who have just embraced these changes, we've managed to do a few things, get things done and adapted. A few fled home. Quite a few fled home. Yeah, called it quits on us, but that's all right. We stayed in the rain and continued on.
We survived.
So,
Survival of the fittest.
sorry, you what's wrong?
I said survival of the fittest.
Yeah. I mean,
We did it. We're here. We survived COVID. Let's all say F 2020-21 and move on to 2022.
yeah. So I think the major problem for most people would be the financial side of things through this whole thing. There's been a lot of people obviously quitting jobs over the mandates in overseas. So I think they're calling it the Great Resignation.
Yeah, there's definitely. I've personally seen a online, I suppose, like a sort of like a swelling up of sentiment, like anti-work sentiment. And in fact, I don't know if you guys go on Reddit much, but there's I think the fastest growing subreddit at the moment is called anti-work, and a lot of people in America, especially, are sort of like seeing the fails and the problems with capitalism and that sort of culture. So yeah, I think I have the feeling that I have is that there is a reckoning coming, and this is the start of it. That eventually people are going to get sick of being squeezed and kind of being beaten down by the dynamic that exists between employers and employees.
It's strange. What are your guys' thoughts about this? Like the goal for the herd immunity was to reach 80-85%, or some case like around that mark, and a lot of countries have reached that.
Yep.
So then what's the next step? Are they
reopening?
Well, opening, right? Opening. Yeah. But in America, in Australia even, now they're rolling out this new thing. I don't know if you guys seen it. So the military guy has come forward, and he's now saying for the leftovers that haven't, 10 to 15% who haven't been vaccinated, they need to work on that group now. So now those people are fighting, well, Absolutely. You wanted to get to the 80-85, and now they've run a new campaign that's called Spread Freedom.
Spread Freedom.
They've already got commercials.
This sounds like an American thing, about as American as you can get.
And they have commercials? Oh, that's America all day.
Yeah.
1 million Americans quit a job in 2019.
Spread freedom.
Spread freedom. But it's just funny because the whole comment section is a good fun to read, because everyone's like, what? So we didn't have freedoms before? Now you're like, yo, guys, if you want your freedoms, here it is. It's like you're selling freedom now. It's like, what? I thought it was funny. But that's the latest. So
they want to call it the Great Resignation, not the Great Depression #2.
Seems like people are not willing to work and climb the corporate ladder anymore. Yeah, why is that, do you think?
It's not surprising to me in the slightest. Like, if you have to work, 10, 12-hour days and get paid minimum wages for it, it's just a shitty paradigm. It's not something that I'd want to sign up to.
But I mean, that was something what they did before. But do you think being in lockdown has given them a different mentality on what they really need now?
Yeah, I think being in lockdown and sort of the last 2 years have really given tons of people like a fresh perspective on, what am I actually doing with my life? What are the things that are actually important to me? I mean, you can see the symptoms of this larger problem in things like people sort of giving up on the traditional, have buy a house with a yard with a white picket fence, having 2.4 kids and a cat and a dog. I think a lot of people are sort of realizing that, like, hey, maybe they'll never be able to afford a property, or maybe living their life, working for 30, 40, 50 years to be able to do that isn't the best way to spend the limited time that you've got on this world. And so I think a lot of people are unplugging and quitting, especially entry-level jobs where they might not be being paid well or satisfied, and taking up things like van life, for example, or like the tiny house movement, or you look at minimalism as a different but related movement as well. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. I mean, obviously, I don't have a full-time job either, and neither do you, Petey.
Mhm.
Neither do any of us, in
Well,
fact.
a lot of people don't consider what I do a job at all.
There you go. There you go.
So
They're
yeah,
seeing
it's
as
funny that
bigger
because a lot of
picture.
people say, yeah, like I always took social media as something where I just posted more of just what I did for fun and stuff. People go like, dude, do you work? I said, of course. Like, how else am I going to pay for these plane tickets when I fly to places?
Yeah,
I can get money somewhere. So yeah, you're right. It's it's like Mio. She works for an online digital advertising company for Japan, and they were day in day out of the office space.
Yeah.
And since this lockdown, they realized that they get as much work done, I guess, working from home, if not more, because you're kind of on call in a sense. The only difference that she can't do right now is she can't host your clients out to dinner. That's the
Yeah.
only difference.
Yeah.
So, but then that puts a burden on people who aren't working, because we're also talking about price increases in food, in
Gas,
general
right.
expenses, and stuff.
Inflation,
Yeah, inflation.
but also inflation in like asset prices as well. So in quite a few countries, but certainly I know in Australia, you've seen the prices of assets just absolutely explode, and I believe part of the reason for that is basically like the government's like printed all this extra money and pushed it into the economy, and that hasn't translated to like people like sort of spending it and circulating it into the economy. I think it's more ended up in terms of like asset prices inflating. So you look at property prices have gone absolutely bonkers in Australia over the last 2 years. And I mean it's the same thing with even something as mundane as like a used car.
Yeah.
Even the used car market has just gone wild.
Yeah, it's
And I
gone
think
up a
and I
lot.
think
Cars
it's a
in the
similar thing in the
90s.
States as well. Yeah.
It's still like gone for 20 grand.
Yeah, that's right. So, like I to give you a bit of extra flavor to it, like I purchased a Honda S2000 or rather I sold my Honda S2000 about 2 years ago.
What model was it?
It was a 2000 model, silver one, so it's the least desirable color. But I sold it was in amazing condition, all carbon fiber parts, and really nice 18-inch Workmeister wheels.
Low Ks as well.
Decent Ks on it, and I sold that for 21.
Mhm.
If I wanted to buy it back now, it'd be like in the 40s. It'd be like 45 for the same car 2 years later with more Ks on it.
45?
Yeah,
Why?
asset prices have just gone wild.
And no changes to it, right?
No,
Bone prices have gone up as well.
bone meat prices.
Bone
Yeah,
meat prices.
I've noticed
That
that.
was bone meat
Yeah.
selling for like 40 or something.
But nothing extra, just the same.
Nothing extra.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a tough one because when we had a bakery in Australia and we sell like apple slices and vanilla slices, and this was back in 1994, 95, and we had this bakery for 7 years, and for the first 3 years, those slices were about $1.40, and you won't get that today. But Dad decided to put up 20 cents extra, so bring it to $1.60 because ingredients and flour were going up, so we needed to get our margins right. And as soon as we put it up to $1.60, and we had a sign up first, a new price changes starting the dates, just to let people be ready. And some people were okay with it. And then that day came, and there were people saying $1.60, what the hell, And they were saying other bakeries $1.40. We're telling them about the whole thing. So then Dad, it didn't go well. I said to him, look, it was only a few customers. Don't worry about them. The others
Just ignore it. Yeah.
So he's very kind and gentle in that sense. So he brought it back to $1.40, but he subtly cut the slices a little bit smaller.
There's always
Very
a-
smart.
Yeah,
Very
so-
smart. Very smart.
That was a way to get around that.
Very
There's always
smart.
a way.
AT, was I watching Fast and Furious before that purchase? Yeah, man. Just call me Suki from now on.
That's Steve Aoki's sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Devin Aoki. Yes.
Devin Aoki.
Yeah, that pink S2000 was mad. It was cool. It was
very-
hot
it's
for a
very
girl to be driving it too. Like you don't see
Very cool.
girls driving a convertible.
Especially stick shift.
Oof, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
very cool.
That was very good.
Where are
Very,
they
very
downstairs?
good. I think the car that stood out the most for me in the first Fast and Furious was the RX-7.
Oh, the red.
Yeah.
The FD.
So good.
FD RX-7. Beautiful thing.
RX-7.
Beautiful thing. That. I did like the Eclipse and the Supra as
That's
well,
good
in a
too.
very racer kind of way. But like, I really enjoyed.
And,
all of them.
that one scene where where all the cars come to meet,
Yes.
and you see the CRX, remember?
Yeah.
Just slicing through here and it's VTEC. It's like, oh, it's so good. Hector, where you at? That guy plays the same role.
It's
as
always
Hector in the
Always.
rice.
Hector and the rice. So going on our topic, we're talking about the financial well-being and what it affects on people. What about physical well-being? Physical well-being. Like, let's
the
say
question.
financial
question.
well-being, things are more expensive. So
Yep.
people change their diet instinctively because they can't afford to eat steak every day. Okay, you'd be a little bit more frugal on your diet. Plus, people be more health conscious because of the virus. How does that impact?
Yeah, I think people are definitely more conscious post COVID about their health and about both mental and physical health, I would say. But a lot of people had a lot of time to like either work out or like meditate and things like that. So
Pick up
yeah,
new
absolutely.
hobbies.
I think it's definitely, once again, it's the same sort of deal. Like, it's made people question their daily routine and what they're sort of doing on a daily basis, because they've been shocked by such a like unexpected and sudden occurrence in life, and has made them question, hey, am I living my life the best way, or should I change something?
Mhm.
And certainly, I mean, I think at this point, like, most people know that like having a balanced diet and exercise and meditation and journaling and things like that like pay huge dividends in terms of both physical and mental health.
Moderation,
I think everybody knows this. In moderation, in terms of drugs and alcohol and partying and et cetera, et cetera. People already know this. The question is, do people have the self-control or the discipline, I suppose, to act on that? But I think most people know this is like, what a healthy lifestyle means already.
A lot of a couple of like later recent researchers have said that like us as humans, you were only really meant to be eating like twice a day.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that's
So
And there is that whole the whole intermittent fasting is a huge thing, and has been for years. But some people even take it further. They just say one meal a day.
Mhm.
It's actually got an acronym, OMAD, 1 meal a day.
Okay.
And
Yes.
I've got friends who have been doing it for quite some time, and they're very happy with how they're able to control their like weight with that. And yeah, no negative
we
physical
did a
impact.
24-hour fast not long ago. I didn't find it very difficult because I had done intermittent fasting already, like 16/8, and I did that for like 30 days. 60
Also,
days.
if you're busy, your time tends to fly by, and then you're looking at the clock and going, "Oh crap! I haven't eaten yet. It's been 16 hours already."
Exactly.
It kind of pushes you to go even further. That's why we wanted to try 48 hours.
Yeah.
Because after that 24 hours, it wasn't so much easy eating. Obviously, you get the odd temptation of an orange juice or soda.
Anything with sugar in it.
Anything with sugar in it, because
Yeah.
your body starts to crave it.
The glucose, yeah.
Yeah, so 48 hours would be a nice little challenge that we can take up.
I've done 3 days a couple of times, like 72
same.
hours.
Just water.
And
Yeah.
water and black coffee only. So
Okay.
no milk, no sugar, no whitening, nothing. Like
Can you
black
have
coffee
nuts?
only.
Okay.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Only those two things. Water. Actually, I think black tea or tea is okay as long as it doesn't have sugar in it.
How did that go?
Soda water is okay, but nothing with sugar in it, basically.
I did the 72 with just pure water.
Yeah.
It was a struggle.
That would be a struggle, yeah.
After a day and a half, I was going crazy.
But I think like for me, because when I did intermittent fasting 16/8, I realized that the first 3 to 5 days was the most difficult because I was someone that was eating small meals every 3 hours pretty much. But I think once you get past that 3 to 4 days, your body starts to get used to, fuck, I'm gonna have to break down something, and obviously it's breaking down the fat as energy, yeah.
Mhm.
And then coupling that with regular exercise and playing ball, I sort of mentally said, just play. Even as much tired as I was at the beginning, I
Just
just
get it
played
done.
anyway.
Just
And
get
then
it done.
you sort of start to, you're building some muscle. I guess I don't know how fast it's building as opposed to someone eating the protein that they need. But I started to get used to it, and then I wasn't getting the cravings after like about 2 weeks was when I was clear of like, nah, I wasn't hungry. That even when Mio ordered stuff, she was, "You want some?" I actually said, "Nah." Whereas now it's like, "Yeah, I'll have some," with a heartbeat. But yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely something that's going to impact. Imagine if everyone started seeing like everyone actually gave it a go and started seeing benefits for themselves, and then not started buying anymore.
Well, it does
Food and
impact because when your financials get impacted, then your way of living automatically gets impacted. The way that what you buy and what you purchase in the supermarket is definitely going to decrease as far as splurging in a sense. For the likes of myself, I don't really follow a strict diet. I pretty much just eat what I feel sort of like eating. Whether it's fried chicken, I don't stick to a regimen, let's say. But during the lockdown, yeah, exactly, you had to stick to a specific diet because you know that you weren't getting much exercise, you're not outside, and at the same time, your financials is hit, so you've got to be wary about your buying power has decreased. So I think as an economy, the community automatically has to do that. You technically have no choice really, unless you have savings backed up. But still, even when you do have savings backed up, you still think about that stuff. It's like we don't know how long this is gonna go on for. So maybe we should cut down on snacks and sauces and
So Lum's posted a link here. It says some studies from Harvard University about intermittent fasting pros and cons. For me, I can give you. I did 60 days, so I started at 86 kilos. I originally wanted to do just 30 days. I started at 86 kilos, and once I got to 30 days, it felt easy, and I felt I achieved that goal. And I said, "What am I going to do now for my next challenge?" I said, "Fuck, let's do another 30 days." So I repeated the same exercises, and I ended up getting down to 73 kilos.
Wow, that's a huge
I have the
difference.
photos too, so I'll bring them up break for everyone to have a look. But what I found was I was doing home exercises, non-equipment, until about the 60th day. My friend hooked me up with City Gym because he goes, "Yo, you've lost all this weight, so what's your next goal?" I said, "Well, I wasn't trying to put on muscle. My initial goal was just to lose weight. But then when I got to that sort of size, I was like, fuck, maybe I should put on some muscle to get a little bit of shape." And then he says, "If you want muscle, you need to lift.
Get ripped, mate.
I need to lift." So I went in and I changed my whole sort of, I guess, exercise program to incorporate lifting. But then I had to change my diet as well. I was still kind of doing the fasting, but I realized that after reading and getting some advice from friends that if I'm lifting and you're building muscles, then you're already burning a lot of calories from
You need to
your
feed
muscle
it, right?
ripping and restoring. So then I didn't fast like I did for that first 60 days, but I did eat more. I found myself eating more the more I lifted.
It makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
I guess if you're using up that extra energy, then you're going to crave more calories to replace it.
Yeah. So I think the pros, if you commit to it, I think you will get to the goals that you get to like fast. But I do feel that to maintain is the hard part. That crash.
Yeah.
Because I didn't let myself go, but then I got to a point where, okay, I'm going to I guess, what's the word? Sort of just ease up on the 5-day training a week. Or I was doing 6 days to 5 days and then to 3 days. And then the 4th day was like just a cardio and playing ball. And then it sort of just got to a point where I was like just eating more and exercising less. And then all those other lockdowns came in again. So I'm still under 80 because I was still doing bits of exercise here, but I wasn't religiously doing it when I was doing those challenges to lose weight. So that's the problem with the fasting is if you let it go, you can come back to your natural state very fast.
Yeah. Especially during lockdown when you don't have the opportunity to go outside and play basketball, for example, or go to a gym for that matter.
Or work,
I found that I would want to snack out of boredom as well.
Yeah.
And that's really dangerous because like the snacking, generally snacks aren't that healthy if you're buying something that's like ready to roll, unless you're doing something like a carrot or something like that. But even with fruit has like a lot of sugar in it, of course, and that's like the relatively healthy snack that you can have, right? So yeah, I suppose you've got to be real careful
Natural
with
sugars, right?
Yeah.
which snack?
Do you eat cereal?
Oats.
Okay.
Oats. I don't do cereal.
Don't do Frosties or anything like Cocoa Pops?
Frosted Flakes. What is that? It's literally like
Fruit Loop.
it's just sugar.
I know, but it's
Pure
so
Why?
good.
Pure deliciousness.
Dude, I love
I used to eat Cocoa Pops when I was in school a lot.
What about the ones, the puff ones with the chocolate inside?
Oh, what is that?
Yeah,
The
there's
ones-
these
yeah.
puffs with chocolate
The
inside.
rice puffs.
Or something.
With chocolate inside. How do they get the chocolate in there? Right.
good
They can
question.
get anything inside these days.
We'll just do a serial mukbang.
We'll have to. Have to do a serious mukbang. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined us, this is the QStream Vibes here on a beautiful Monday. Hope you're having a good one. Great start to the week. Our favorite day because you get to do it all over again. Don't go away. We'll come back after these short messages. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the QStream Vibes here.
Hello. Where'd everyone go? Did we lose everyone? Seems like everyone dropped
You're
off.
still getting really bad. Okay, cool.
You guys back? What happened?
Is Sean smooth on yours? You're I think you got really bad connection. You're in a new hotel, aren't you, Sean?
Yes.
Yeah,
You guys hear
the
me?
Connection is
It's very
terrible,
bad.
mate. It's so bad. It's so bad.
It's so bad.
Maybe you have to log on and log off again. But he's got a random. I think Sean's got a random article for us as well. Yeah.
Let's see. Let's have it after we reconnect. What else have we got on the agenda today?
I mean, that was pretty much it in terms of, the financial well-being, physical, and I mean, you said mental well-being. We touched on. So, I mean, they all go hand in hand with each other.
So, all right, I've got a question then. This obviously don't feel like you need to give any specifics, but how have you guys gone financially in the last 2 years because of the pandemic? I'm happy to begin. Just to sort of.
Actually, that's a great question.
So basically, I have an events business in Australia, and for the first 6 months, or maybe first 8 months of the pandemic, completely shut down. Everything went to zero.
That one only runs in Queensland, right?
Yeah. So occasionally I do have them elsewhere, but it depends on the staff availability and stuff. But obviously Australia wide, everything was closed down, so there was no possibility of running anything anywhere in Australia. So yeah, for the first 6 months, everything went to zero. My income essentially instantly went to zero. However, because I've got some savings and some investments in things like ETFs and crypto as well. Crypto didn't really go anywhere at the time, but certainly like the ETFs that I've got, there was a sharp drop, but then after that everything rebounded really, really nicely. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I guess this is what we're talking about in terms of like asset prices going up. The unfortunate thing is, I'm not actually sure if the investments themselves are worth more. I think it's more the dollar is worth less.
Yeah.
So when it comes time to using that money, it's going to purchase. It's going to be worth less, and so inflation means that you're going to have to pay more dollars for the same goods or same things. So, for example, if I wanted to cash out some of those investments and buy something like a house or a car or something like that. Unfortunately, the prices of those things have already inflated. So, I guess it remains to be seen, like how much of a difference it's made. But certainly, like house prices have gone wild. Yeah, I guess after that initial 6 months break, though, people were really excited to go out and do things. So my business sort of recommenced, and it did really well in that time that we were able to continue doing things.
That's good. Because you just had an event recently as well, right?
On Friday night.
Yeah.
I actually haven't done the numbers for anything for that event yet, but yeah, apparently it went pretty well.
That's awesome.
Question, Matthias.
Oh, look. Question, Matthias. What's your investment strategy considering COVID-19 is hitting everywhere and it's quite uncertain?
I guess my strategy is to try to keep my finances out of cash as much as possible, exactly because of the inflation that we've just been talking about. Having cash on hand is, while like it's flexible and you're able to sort of make quick decisions on where to sort of pump your money into. By its very nature, it's actually losing value every year. So I guess like my investment strategy hasn't really changed during COVID versus before COVID. I've tried to diversify basically to have money in several different asset classes, being residential property in Australia, ETFs that are geared towards that's exchange traded funds. Basically, it's like a managed fund where you've got a portfolio of companies and you kind of just pump money into that, and it's automatically distributed across the companies that are held within the ETF. So the vast majority of my savings are in that. And then there's also some smaller, more speculative things like crypto. So I've got some money in crypto as well. And I guess that's sort of like the primary asset classes. I don't own any debt, so I don't hold any bonds or anything like that.
That's good. That's like myself as well. No debt here.
Is this a question for me? I think Pat, probably this is a good question for you. I know. So okay, I mean, if I'm going to say anything about that BTC ETF, yeah, I mean, it's an easy vehicle to get in onto BTC. I'd want to see what the fees are on it, because it may be more efficient to just buy BTC, unless there are other things contained in that ETF that is not just BTC. Maybe there's other things in it, Ethereum or the wider crypto marketplace, in which case there would be sort of like a point investing in that versus just buying BTC.
I would have to agree. I would, for myself, if anyone's looking to go into BTC ETF, I would suggest just going into BTC itself, because it's still early stages. It's only just been approved for the last couple of weeks. So like Maddie said, there's still a lot of underlying factors that you need to look into before diving into that anyway. So
I'd also want to check what company is actually issuing it, because that also introduces a risk in terms of, does that company go bust? Are you then able to access your BTC ETF or not? Certainly with a big established company like Vanguard, you wouldn't have any trouble. But yeah, you'd want to check what company it is. I actually haven't seen this ETF product that you're talking about, Pat, but yeah, you'd want to check that. It does sound like it would be way easier to just buy BTC directly. Petey, did you want to mention about I guess like your sort of like financial direction during COVID and whether that changed anything for you or not?
I think when it first the very first preliminary phases of lockdown, we were still able to run off our gigs. We had Pat and I had a couple of contracts at Zion where we were, we did a good 3-4 months worth of work. We were resident, so that was one gig, and I had a string of corporate at that time. And after the first sort of mini lockdown, a lot of my gigs were moved. The ones that were able to be moved were moved, and this was coming sort of towards the end of what they did was like Vietnam has like end of year parties.
Yes.
But the end of year parties is sort of right before Tet. So we ran a couple of those before, I think it was March something, that we had a proper full lockdown. But anything that was on specific days like Women's Day gigs obviously cannot be changed. That's a specific date. So I lost out on a few of those gigs. But when I knew that something was going to come up, I did a lot of gigs. I did a lot of cheap gigs as well. I did a lot of private birthday parties because that was sort of the only thing that was available. And
I guess the situation in Vietnam was very different compared to Australia. I guess people here had like a good year run up, or year and a bit, year and a half even,
before
where the situation was so good that it didn't affect everything anywhere near the same level.
And then we had like a proper lockdown where no one could go out. I think it was the first proper one. And then end of May, June, we opened for a good 3 months. Yeah. People back in clubs.
So while all of this was happening, did you make a conscious decision? Like, did you and Mio make a conscious decision to be like, hey, we're going to have to be more frugal until we see the end of this thing? And
for sure. Well, she wasn't affected because she works online. She's a digital agent, so she wasn't affected. But we have a decent amount of savings. She pretty much manages all the money that comes in. So
Probably better that way, right?
pretty much she leaves me, with a bit of money, and that's what you get to use for the month. And if I want to buy something expensive, like say like a phone or something, she would ask why and receive it to all right. But you know me.
Confer with the Minister of Finance, man.
That's it. But you know me, I don't own any design
That's the
label
thing.
things, and I don't go out and splurge on expensive things that I don't need. I don't wear very expensive clothes or anything, and it's not to say that I don't like them. Like, I do have some, mainly as gifts that people have given me. I have bought myself an expensive stuff before, but as you get older and you sort of see the value in money and where things are, I feel me as a person, I don't need to wear something expensive to get validation from someone.
I think we're on the same page with that.
I feel that I'm not trying to be up myself, but I think I hold myself pretty well to be cool enough to be wearing stuff from
very, very attractive, Petey. Very attractive.
So, that's not to say that to put anyone else down. If you like buying it, by all means, buy it. It's what you like to choose to buy. That's you.
So you did find that you were more frugal during COVID?
Yeah, we started cooking at home, and to be honest, like someone had asked me this before, is it cheaper to cook at home or is it cheaper to eat out? I think it's cheaper to cook at home if you're cooking for more than 4 people or like 4 servings. But if you're cooking just for 2 people, I feel it's quite expensive in terms of the time it takes to do it.
It's very time consuming.
And it's not like if I buy like a whole thing of spinach and it's just for me and Mio, I'm going to eat the whole thing like that.
If you're throwing food away, that's
exactly right.
That's not good.
Yeah, so,
and of course, this only applies to Vietnam. Certainly, if you're doing this stuff in Australia, it's a lot more expensive.
A lot more expensive.
And America.
So we're very frugal on that front. And then when we got through, I didn't get to dig into my savings at all. I think I was going to at one stage, but then we got to a point where a few things came back. So I did a few online gigs. Weren't a lot, but it still made up for a lot of what we did. Because as soon as that hit, we already immediately said, okay, let's allot our rent money aside, and we put all the rent money aside already. So anything extra will be, so we didn't have to run every month to be like shit rents up.
Yeah.
So and then I got into crypto as well with Pat, but I'm not saying that was anything in help. It's already money that I didn't need. That's put aside, and we're hoping for that to go off. I know.
Well, it's
there as an emergency fund where if you need to pull out something.
Come on, crypto.
Like you said, you have to, so it's good to have as another source of income.
Mm-hmm. And I think being from a family that like a Vietnamese family that's always worked in. My parents have always had family-owned businesses and stuff like that. So we've always, I guess, helped each other in times of need. Just in general, like Mum's always hit me up and goes, "Hey, are you working? Do you need any money?" I said, "No, I'm fine." And she goes, "You sure? You
Thanks,
sure?"
Mom.
I've always said, "Look, Mum, I promise you, if I'm down to like my last, whatever,
your last dong, mate,
I'll ask you for it."
Your last dong.
And I'll save the story for another time. Like, I made some terrible financial decisions on my first sort of, I guess, run in Vietnam where.
Well, this sounds like a juicy story. I can't wait to hear this.
I think everyone sort of goes through that.
I hit the jackpot on a couple of TV deals, but I was blowing it like it was just fucking. I would go to clubs because boom, get us this, bottles or whatever, and it got to the point where
should have had a Wise Pass membership, mate.
Wise Pass wasn't around 10 years ago, so. But long story short, it got to a point where I was moving money from my Australian bank, and I forgot that back then paper statements were still getting sent back home. So Mum's like,
"Oh no!"
Mum's like, "You withdraw $5,000 out of Cola." So I thought you had money over there. Things like that. I'm like, no, I just need to get something. Just used all your money, didn't you? But like
she saw right through your picture immediately.
Yeah, but it's it's just little things like that. So I think it's taught me a lot to appreciate the necessities over the wants and what we need. So, how about you, Sean? What have you been? Because you nearly went home. That was a sign of desperation. Because you said,
I mean, last year I was able to go back during COVID. Here was that 2020, and I came back to America actually going into lockdown. So any type of regular job that I used to work or even think about, like a bar or restaurant or office type of job, that wasn't even happening. So then, luckily, I had the opportunity to work for my friend, and during the time of lockdown, for like since April to October, I had work, and I was able to make money and survive, and I was doing okay. So the lockdown wasn't that bad. And then I decided to come back to Vietnam, and with that saved money up, I was coming back here to relax for a little bit, and then also travel and work. But as as it played out, we got into lockdown here, and so I've been spending a lot. I did put money into crypto, but that's just like Pat always says, just keep that inventorized, save that for when you don't really need it. So that's just there for extra.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the lockdown actually, I wasn't spending much, but the cost of rent was just like always the little burden. But like food, I always cooked for myself, and like you guys said, like cooking for one person, it's just time consuming, and like I wasted a ton of food. Um, but I was
It's an interesting thing that like I think so many people like were forced to learn how to cook and to fend for yourself.
Make
So
dalgona
many
coffee and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I found that I was cooking tons more during lockdown. Of course, I mean we didn't have delivery for a while, right?
in the
But
dishes.
I
hate
actually
the
I actually
dishes.
quite enjoy it, especially if I'm doing it with someone, with music, with a couple of drinks. Like
Yeah.
that's hell yeah,
That's
I'm
the
into
best.
that. Yeah,
It's chill. Plus, when
Definitely.
your food tastes good.
not always, but it usually turned out pretty good.
Well, that was what one of the monks, one of the Dalai Lama, or one of the monks had said that this was kind of like a wake up call to give us a chance to go back to some of these things we're forgetting and get away from that technology and reconnect.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
see
learn
what
some
you care
basic life
about,
skills because
focus
no,
on,
no one's doing it for you.
Yeah.
see
Well,
the things that matter more.
TikTok blew up during that time too.
Oh, TikTok was huge.
Did you splurge every now and then on the weekends though, Sean? I'm sure you splurged a little bit during that
Oh
time.
man, I was doing, yeah, I was like, when we were able to like go out in Saigon, oh man, I was having the time of my life. For like when my birthday came around, oh man, before that, and like for a whole month it was just like go go go, like I was having the time of my life. And then lockdown came in, and I mean, I wasn't able to go out, and so like I did have my fun before lockdown, but then lockdown, of course, had to just not making much money. And uh, some people, I was screwed out of money that I was making that was going to hold me off like easily for the next, well, for a long time. But my buddy had screwed me out of this money, so this continue residual income was actually cut, and he still owes me a bunch of money, sadly. Like, yeah, so I was hoping on that just to keep surviving and having my relaxed lifestyle. So now I will actually have to go back to doing some teaching and some work, which will be good. But I was hoping to keep on that laxed residual income lifestyle. So not everything works how we want it to work, but in the end, we make it work how we need to. So
Well, look what it started us as well. Look what it's brought us. How about yourself, Patty? We can hear you, but we can't see you,
DJ
mate.
Pat.
The viewers.
No, I don't think it's working at all. Then
Let's get a break and then
We'll go to a break. Let's cut to a quick break. We'll come back with Pat's story, and we got some
Cut to a
spicy
Pomeranian.
news to finish up, and a challenge for all of us. So let's go to a Pomodoro. Q-Stream Vibes here, back with the story on Pat McGrawley. How did you cope, mate?
Hello, guys.
Yeah, no.
Great intro. Hello.
Sorry, my allergies are playing up, so I'm not on camera. I think I'm the same as everyone else. When it first hit, it was like, how long is this going to last? And what's going on? And luckily, like Petey said, last year, there was, you know, a string of events for us, a lot of gigs. So it was pretty solid. And then this year, the start of this year, we never really thought that this was going to hit us again. You know, we were very complacent as far as the people, and also as the country, that we thought that, hey, we're good. You know,
It's
we
over.
fought it real well, so we just keep going. But then April came, and then it hit us quite bad. And luckily, you know, there was some savings in there that was placed through, and I made sure, because moving to a new place, that I would pay in advance. So I'm not on a month to month on my rent. I'm paid up for the whole year because of the situation of
Nice.
what's happened in the past. So I was like, that's my main priority: get rent paid out, then everything else will come.
That's really
Yeah,
good.
exactly. And that was my ask. So when we moved, and PD helped me move in the start of this year to my new place, is that, you know, I'm getting it for very cheap. And that's because, one, because of obviously the COVID discount, and as well as I asked to pay the whole year upfront, because I didn't think I was going to go anywhere anyway. So yeah, exactly. And for someone that's, you know, going to come in and just say, look, here's 1 year of rent, get it over and done with. Of course they're gonna go, yeah, cool, for a couple of
Here's
mil
a
discount,
discount.
why not?
Yeah.
But yeah,
One
no,
year rent.
yeah, a couple of mil per month. So, but we were fortunate enough to have a lot of work leading towards, obviously, the first lockdown in April. But yeah, like Maddie said as well, there was diversifying your multiple income streams, I think, is quite key in this time of you know, the situation that's happening. You can't just have one source of income now. I think if that falls through, like for example, if you're a DJ like myself and clubs are closed, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Especially when you have no savings. So in that sense, and coming to, you know, my late 30s, yes, I'm 38. um, it's, yeah, you start to spend less on a lot of other useless things. You also tend to be like a little bit more frugal, and even the things that you buy, like, you know, when we were young, it was like, yeah, just buy it, it's only like 20
Yeah,
bucks.
just get it.
But now it's like, oh, it's
Think
20
about it.
bucks, maybe I can get it for $18 or $15 somewhere else. And you start to look around, and exactly, and it comes to that question, like, do you need it now? It's not the do you want it anymore. I think moving forward, this sort of mentality is really what's going to get us through, if ever, knock on wood, that we don't get locked down ever again. But yeah, I think for myself, it's just a matter of having different multiple income streams, and being a little bit more mindful on cash flow, and also how you spend your money and what you spend it on.
Definitely.
I think also, like, for us in our situation, it sits where, you know, being foreigners, we're living under a roof that is considered probably quite expensive for a lot of locals, for the average local anyway. You know, I know friends who make a good, decent monthly income, but they'll still choose to live, you know, under 5-6 mil a month in a place they're renting. They'll even share rooms with someone, and you know, to them, it's their way of saving for the long term.
Yeah.
So then afterwards, they'll have a bunch of cash, and then they can maybe build a house or something, or what the case is, or help family out a lot more, rather than living good now.
Or just have more freedom to be able to
Yes.
choose, like, you know, how to live your life. And I think for me, it was always like very helpful to like be more frugal, because the way that I sort of thought about it, even from quite an early age, is you know, say for example, your $20 example. If I want to buy something for $20, is that worth 4 hours of me working my ass off at a shitty dead end job? And you know, like, I sort of always thought about things in terms of, is this worth X amount
Your
of
time.
hours or months or years of my life? And you know, when I thought about it that way, like, I always valued my own time quite highly, and I thought, hey, maybe I don't need these brand new Jordans for $250, because that's you know, that's all that, but or that's like, you know, a week of work and savings. You know, are they worth a week of labor? And you know, when I thought about it that way, I often thought, no, hell no, hell no. I'd rather have a week of freedom to do whatever I want, as opposed to this thing which I may or may not have needed.
I want to
But
see
yeah,
if I
just
actually
the
enjoyed
freedom.
it.
The freedom is like the thing that that was real important to me. And yeah,
Remember, that goes down to that other question you asked us. Imagine if you had like $1 million or whatever
Yes,
the case is.
yes.
You know, like obviously when you get to that ultimate financial freedom where you can buy a Lamborghini 5 times over, then sure, get one Lamborghini. That's fine. You know, you can afford it
But you
5
don't
times
need
over.
5.
But yeah, like multiple streams. That takes me. It reminds me of this because I wrote. Someone said to me, "Petey, so what do you do? You know, you're acting. You're you're a magician. You're streaming now. You're a vlogger." Because I became sort of a bit of everything.
jack of all trades.
Yeah. So they say,
Yes.
what is it? Jack of all trades,
Master of
none, but often better than a master of one.
Mm.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's the new saying.
Master of disguise.
So if you're pretty good, you don't have to be excellent, but if you're pretty good at a lot of things, I think you'll have an advantage over a lot of people who are just good at one thing.
Well, it's just it's more risky to not diversify your skills and therefore income stream, because if the one thing that you do goes to shit,
Fails.
for example, my events business or your acting or your live gigs during a time of pandemic, which is a completely unforeseeable thing, and you've got nothing else that you can fall back on or start off, that can be a precarious position and very scary.
But you got to finish with the other thing. But often better.
I like
than
that
the master
banner.
of one. So speaking of the master of one,
Yeah.
this incident, maybe everyone needed to know how to check a gun. They
This is
just leave it to
a
the one
very
person.
Big.
So the Alec Baldwin incident where they were shooting the new film, Rust on set, accidentally fired blanks and killed the cinematographer alongside an assistant director or something, injured alongside.
Yeah.
Injured, yeah.
Injured.
So different opinions have been flying around on who's at negligence and is it Alec because he was the one firing it, but he's just an actor, and the gun squad who does the routine checks should be, it should be everyone involved.
Why did it even have rounds in the first place when you're on
Exactly.
a set with
Why
other
are there
people?
live
First
rounds?
question.
That makes no
It was
sense.
live rounds or was it blanks?
Well, you can't kill anyone with blanks. That's the point.
No, so they said you can. So well, you can, but they said that specifically blanks can still be at fault because of the close proximity and the shrapnel, because it's supposed to blast like a real gun, and if that hits you in the eye or somewhere that can kill you,
Yeah.
then yes. So we don't know if the
Details.
shot was like
Point blank
to
or
the
something,
camera
yeah.
or something like that. But with common sense, a lot of people say things like, when you have firearms on set, it should be taken as the most serious protocol of safety over anything.
Well, you have a tool that's literally designed to kill people.
Yeah, and then like when they say prop
Props
gun,
double check.
so people also forget. Like some people who don't know, prop gun doesn't mean it's like a fake gun. It's still a gun. I think it's like a gun that's not used like at firing ranges anymore, but is now labeled as for films. But because it can still fit a real size bullet, you're putting a blank bullet in that doesn't have a shell, because it's supposed to be made out of paper, but it still has the gunpowder part in it. That's why it gives it the blast for realism.
Yeah. I suppose you still need the flash and the recoil and
Yeah.
all of that, right?
Yes.
Still need
That's
to look
why I
real.
thought, why don't I just put that,
Right.
You think someone could
Just don't put anything in it,
or some,
especially if you're practicing.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're actually like doing the filming.
or some company just makes a prop gun that doesn't have a hollow barrel, and you can just do that in post.
I'm sure there is. What about the CGI that's coming out?
Yeah. Well, CGI is expensive, very expensive. It's much cheaper to have
is as well.
Well, absolutely. I mean, to me, the no-brainer would have been just don't have anything in there. Not a blank or a proper, like, just have nothing in there. And then, when it comes to actually like filming the actual take that's going to end up in the movie, then you'd probably want to triple 100x check that the thing that you're loading it with is a blank. Yeah.
But like I was reading a lot of comments how people were saying like, some people were defending Alex, some people weren't. But for me, I'm like, this would be me because I'm quite a professional or careful of little things. Like, let's say he's in his trailer and they're setting things up. You got the standing guy to the camera focus, guns just been placed here, ready to go. Alec, we're ready to shoot, and he comes out. Wouldn't he at least go, hey, this has been checked, yeah? And let's say the gun person goes, yes, we've just checked it.
Well, then
Like,
you just remove the responsibility at that point.
right? But like, it's kind of like you need to see it. Like, there's a few people. This has happened around the vaccine where people were getting tested. The cars pull up, and then the people in hazmats already had the thing out. And some people are saying, "Hey, can you open a brand new one in front of me? Because you've just had that open. I don't know where you've
The testing thing.
Yeah. Can you open a new one? Because I want to see you open a new one.
Yeah.
Kind of like the same thing here. It goes, okay, can you show me that it's empty? Kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's difficult to comment without knowing like the full facts or without being there. Yeah.
But you know, a conspiracy even came out on this cinematographer.
Man, you love your conspiracy theories, Petey.
Because someone came out and said that the lady that the lady team that the gun squad that loaded the bullet or not loaded the bullet or did the check or whatever, she was part of some. And I don't know if this is confirmed, but this was the article saying she was part of protecting a story that this cinematographer was about to do after this film, which is a documentary on exposing the pedophile ring.
Wow.
A bit far-fetched,
what?
but
Yeah.
that's what the story is. I only just read it this morning, but let's see how much more the story unfolds. And if there's a link to it, then man, that's pretty fucked up.
Damn.
It
So
would
it's
kind
a
of like
plan.
that Jeffrey- kind of- I don't know. Who knows? But, you know, they say these days, what's the difference?
Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself.
This is what they say these days. What's the difference between a conspiracy and a theory? It's like 6 months. 6 months. So it's looking that way. But anyway, that's the entertainment news.
That's
But the challenge that I want to bring you guys up to is something we're going to do together, hopefully, is Movember. Movember. So I'm going to bring that up. Are you down for Movember? Okay, so let's bring that up. I'll bring the screenshot up here for you guys to have a look. What are the rules? Let's see where the rules at.
I think they have no trouble with
I know, but there's some.
This is about a month worth of growth already. So it'll be like that.
How long will that grow? Because this is the rules here. Let me see if I can.
I can't wait to see Sean.
It's in the group chat.
Okay, no, I'm just bringing it up on the big screen here. Boom. So.
Have you done it before, Max?
Not the official one with like the actual sponsorship and everything. I have done it before in terms of I just didn't shave my mo in November.
Okay.
But this is a little more strict with rules and everything.
Okay, so I'll read them out to you, and then we'll all do it. So it says here, these are the rules. Made in Movember. So number one, once we register at Movember.com, each Mobro must begin with the 1st of Movember, a clean shaven face. I'm going to look so weird. Number two, for
We all
the
will,
entire month of Movember, each Mobro must grow and groom a mustache. Number three, don't fake it. No beards, no goatees, no fake mustaches. Number four, use the power of the mustache to create conversations about men's health and raise funds for prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and mental health. Number five, each Mobro must conduct himself like a true gentleman. So, and these are our Sean. These are our options of what you can do, and I'll bring that up. So we've got here the Wisp, the Abracadabra, the Rockstar, the Undercover Brother, the Trucker, the Regent, the Businessman, the Boxcar, the Connoisseur, and the After Eight. So I'm going to give myself a go at the Rockstar and Connoisseur and actually try and get those curls to come through. So
Very nice. I can't wait to see it.
what are you going to do?
I'm going for the Undercover Brother.
Undercover Brother. Okay, so should we register us four under the one account.
Yeah,
We'll do that, and then
that's a great idea.
on 1st of November, we'll I guess we'll all shave at home, and that day of the street, we'll rock up with a clean shaven face. And,
The wisp.
And what I'll do is I'll take a photo of us each day at the same distance, and for the 30 days at the end, I'll do that pic collage and see how it's going.
Oh, that'll be cool. A little time lapse.
Yeah, the time lapse.
Oh, like a
Time
picture
lapse.
every
That'll
day.
be, that'll be very cool.
Comes out, that has to continually be shaven clean.
Yeah.
Because just leaving here though.
I'm gonna go like a number, like a zero blade, because it messes with my skin if I use an actual
That's like-
actual razor.
Okay, so as long as it's zero blade.
Yeah,
Close to it, close to
absolutely.
it. But the first day is bare.
Same.
first-
So I'll just go like zero blade
You know,
as close.
as close as possible, because if I shave with the razor, then I just do all.
It's pimples, ingrown hair. It messes with my skin. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, you heard it first. And AT, I know you've been trying to grow your mo for a couple of months, and still no excuse.
Gotta hit puberty first, bro.
Keep growing, AT.
Man, I
Keep
hope
growing.
You can do some graph. Take that stuff from downstairs because that's the most realistic to the mo, and bring it upstairs. So
It'll be nice and curly though.
be nice and curly. So you can do the connoisseur. No worries.
I wonder what Sean's gonna go for.
Which one are you gonna do, Sean?
What? Shall I bring him up again? I think the wisp. I think I was looking at the wisp.
I'll bring it back up.
Yeah, I like the
Wisp?
the
Which one's
wisp.
that one? Oh, the one with the gap in the middle.
Yeah, the little.
I reckon you should do the Hitler. Do the Hitler. It's not on the list. Hitler.
The boxcar, huh? Or the regent.
I reckon Manny would do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I'll try and go for
Yeah.
a trucker.
For the
The
trucker.
handlebars.
Oh mate, I'll make it as dirty as possible.
I can see that on Matthias.
You'll be able to fix it.
Yeah, I'm going to dirty Mexican, the undercover brother.
The dirty Mexican. That's what they should name one.
Man, that abracadabra is too much. I don't think I can get it that far.
Yeah, maybe Sean, maybe you should do the undercover brother.
That one. That's not a bad one.
Or would you do the really thin one? You know how the really thin one's just right close to your lip?
The After Eight.
Yeah, like the Addams Family one?
The After Eight.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
After
right.
Eight.
Yeah, let's try that. Let's try that.
Yeah,
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined us, I'm sorry you're going to have to join us tomorrow. This has been the Hour of Power with Qstream Vibes. Thanks for joining us on this beautiful Monday. We'll be back tomorrow. And what we'll do is I'll try and get Maddie and Patty to come in early, and we're going to try the squid burger from Lotteria.
Let's do it.
Burger.
Find Lotteria.
You can find Lotteria in High Kong. They got the Squid Game burger. So get yourself
I'll
one
check.
as well. I'm sure
I was
we'll try
looking
Squid
for
Burger.
it, but I'll check. I just saw a Lotteria today, so
It's basically just the calamari burger.
Don't ruin it like that, mate.
I'll just go buy some.
And
fried
don't
squid.
forget, costumes for Halloween. So get it ready. We'll talk about that tomorrow as well.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, guys.
Halloween.
As always, hearts. Heart you. Love you.
I heard you said you feel lonely. Nothing is right with